Hi guys, it's Lindsay. Welcome back to the Wandering Reader. Today I'm going to be doing my recommendations video for new to me authors in 2017. For those of you that have watched my goals for 2018, you'll know that one of them is to read my shelves, and I picked out in January for my TBR to read some new to me authors for 2018. So I wanted to do a recommendations video every month based on what I pick out of that jar. So I thought that I would talk today about authors that were new to me in 2017 that I would definitely recommend. I had a little think about how to do this video, and what I decided on was to talk about authors that have some sort of a backlist. So I will show you what book I read in 2017 from them, but then these authors have also got a wealth of other books to read from as well, and they're certainly books that I'm excited about getting around to. The first author that I want to talk about is Liane Moriarty, and in 2017 I read her book Big Little Lies and absolutely loved it. I've got a few other books from her on my shelf, but when I picked this up I thought this was just going to be your bog standard sort of thriller. What I didn't anticipate was how she dealt with some really quite heavy topics and themes, and she dealt with them really well. So not only is this a great thriller, it also is a great book that explores lots of really relevant topics and ideas that I think Liane Moriarty does so well. I'm still yet to watch the TV show of this, but I will get around to it eventually. But I've got a few other of Liane Moriarty's books on my shelves, like I said, and I'm really anxious to get round to them. I don't think I own them all. I think she's written sort of 5 or 6 other ones apart from this one. So this will be a great author to sink your teeth into if you like thrillers, but you also like books that deal with other topics as well, and perhaps you're looking for a thriller that isn't just there to kind of excite you for the sort of thrilling aspect of it. I would definitely recommend Liane Moriarty. The second author that I want to talk about is Ali Smith, and last year I read Autumn by her, and if you saw my videos that I did around the time that I read this, you'll know that I really wasn't sure about reading Ali Smith's writing at all. None of her books kind of really appealed to me. I've seen a few in sort of bookshops before and never had any sort of inclination to pick them up. But I read this as part of the Man Booker shortlist, and I'm so glad I did. She is pretty experimental in her writing, but it's not too off the wall that it will kind of put you off for that reason. I really liked the way she dealt with different modern topics in here. I really liked her writing style, and I will definitely be picking up more from her. Winter has been out in hardback for a couple of months now, I think, so, but I'm waiting for it to come out in paperback before I buy it and read it. But I'm really anticipating that particular book. So I would say if you're on the fence about her writing because you think it might be a little bit too literary for you or a little bit too experimental, I would definitely encourage you to give her a go. I do think she is a much more accessible author of literary fiction than perhaps people think that she is, and I would definitely encourage you to pick up Autumn if you haven't done that already. The third author that I want to talk about is one that you've heard me rave about loads, especially lately, and that is Kristen Hanna, and in 2017 I read The Nightingale by her. This made it onto my favourites of 2017 list. If you haven't watched that video, I'll link it for you. I absolutely loved this book. And Kristen Hanna has written a wealth of other novels. If I kind of have a look in the front of this one, there's a whole long list of other works, so lots and lots to get your teeth sunk into. And I put up a video about my most anticipated releases between January and March, and her novel The Great Alone was on that list. I cannot wait to pick that up, and I've heard actually recently a couple of people talk about it and say good things about it, so it makes me even more excited to read it. But yeah, Kristen Hanna I think writes a lot of historical fiction, and it seems to me a lot of fiction that is centred around the theme of war and the consequences and the effects of war and things like that. And I just really loved her as a writer in this one, and cannot wait to pick up some other things by her too. The next author that I want to talk about is Blake Crouch, and in 2017 I read Dark Matter by him. I really didn't know what to expect when I went into this. I knew it was some sort of a sci-fi book, but I didn't really realise it was a sci-fi thriller, and I also didn't realise how much I would love his writing style. This particular one here is his newest release, and it is a sci-fi thriller focusing around the idea of the choices that we make in life and the consequences of those choices, and it looks at different paths that you can go down and things like that. That's kind of one of the main themes in it, and I absolutely love this. I thought it was fast paced, really thrilling, loved the writing. There is lots of sciencey stuff in here, and I sort of was able to get my head around most of it, but I would say that it's not too heavy that it kind of puts you off for that reason. I cannot wait to pick up other things that he has written. He's written a trilogy which I've heard other people talk about called the Wayward Pines trilogy, which I know that people have got good things to say about, so that'll probably be the trilogy that I pick up next from him, and I can't wait to do that. The next author that I want to talk about is Daphne du Maurier, and I read Rebecca by her in 2017. Again, this was a favourite of mine on my favourites of 2017 list. Yeah, and I've been banging on about her, and you've heard me no doubt talk about how much I love her writing in this book. I'm currently reading My Cousin Rachel. I'm doing a buddy read of that with Amanda, and loving that one too. The writing is just as excellent in that one, and I'm really enjoying it. So again, Daphne du Maurier, sorry, has got a load of backlist books, and I know Amanda's doing a project where she wants to read all of her backlists in 2018. Yeah, and I can't wait, sorry, to get around to reading other things by her. The next author that I want to talk about is Lucinda Riley, and I read The Seven Sisters by her in 2017. This is the sort of author that I'd seen sort of hanging around on supermarket shelves and things like that in the book section, and hadn't really had any inclination to pick them up. And then I saw Jess from Jess McGlynn read this first one and talk about it on her channel, and said that she quite enjoyed it. So I ordered myself a copy of what turned out to be the second one, and then I had to pick up the first one later. And then a colleague of mine at work read this, and she's read a couple of the others in the series as well, and said that she would highly recommend them. So I got around to picking the first one in this series up, and I really liked her writing. I don't think she's the best at writing dialogue, but I think she weaves a good story together, and it's enough to keep me captivated into kind of carrying on with this series. Not only is she writing this series, but she's also written some other things. There's a standalone novel called The Olive Tree that has just recently come out, and then there's a whole host of other ones. It looked like there's 7 or 8 on the list of sort of standalones that she's written. I think all of her books are quite chunky, so I would recommend maybe picking up a standalone and giving that a go and seeing whether you like her writing, because her books are definitely an investment. But yeah, like I said, I really like the way that she weaves stories together, and yeah, I'm looking forward to picking up more things by her in 2018. Next up I have here Becky Albertalli, and this is Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda. I read this pretty early on in 2017. I say pretty early on, I think I bought this for my birthday, so it must have been during the summer months that I read this. And this tells the story of Simon, and he is gay, but he hasn't come out to any of his friends or his family, and he's having sort of this secret relationship online with this other boy called Blue. He doesn't know who Blue is. And one day one of his fellow classmates sort of catches him talking to Blue online, and threatens to tell everybody about what is happening, and the story sort of goes from there. What I really liked about Becky Albertalli's writing is that she just deals with topics that are so relevant and so important for young people to read about today. She's written 2 other books. One of them is called The Upside of Unrequited, which I think came out last year or the year before, and then she's got one coming out this year called Lear on the Offbeat, I think it's called. And they're all centred around characters in this particular world. So if you like Simon, then you can follow characters from this particular world in her other books too. And I think The Upside of Unrequited deals with sort of fat shaming and things like that, which is another really important topic to bring to the light. So I really want to pick up some other things by her, just because I think she's just a great writer for young people to pick up and kind of delve into some of the issues that are affecting young people's lives today. And the last author that I have on my list is Kate Morton, and last year I read by her The Lake House, and I really enjoyed it. She is the writer of sort of mystery stories, and she tends to write her stories so they're set in a couple of different time periods. So this one obviously had sort of a modern day setting, but then we had a setting where we went back in time and looked at this particular family when they were growing up at this house called the Lake House. And it sort of delved into a mystery that was going on in the family. And I really liked the way that she weaved her story together. The setting of the house and Cornwall, I think she brought to life really well. And she managed to kind of keep you on the edge of your seat with the mystery, but also write some terrific characters too. I kind of wasn't a big fan of the way that she ended the book. I thought it was a little bit too convenient, but it certainly hasn't put me off reading other things by her, and I've got 3 of her other books on my shelf ready to go, so definitely want to pick up another one of those this year. So there you go guys, they were all the authors that I wanted to recommend to you guys that were new to me in 2017, and hopefully some of them will be new to you in 2018. I'd love to have a chat with you in the comments below. What were some authors that you read last year for the first time and are really excited to pick up some of their other books? I love hearing your recommendations. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.